You're now watching This AFC South Show, brought to you by Curtis Podcast Network, hosted by Curtis Brown, Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michelli, and Jeff Steckel. Hello and welcome to This AFC South Show number 86, and today we're going to be covering the Colts with our main man, Jeff Steckel. He's obviously our resident Colts fan. You can tell by the hat, the Manning jersey. Is that a Manning plaque?
It's
and Manning a Marino plaque?
I got a Marino plaque. I've had it since I was like 6.
It's probably worth a thing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm your host, Curtis Brown. This is Curtis's Podcast Network. And just due to scheduling and everything, we've been kind of breaking up the games this week. So we're getting into the Colts-Chargers game. But before we do that, we got a like and subscribe goal for this episode. We're looking for 5 new subscribers. We're at 168 the last time I saw. And I would like maybe, I don't know, like 15 likes on this video. 15 likes. It's not, come on. That's not that much. That's not that much. Not that much. So hit the button, hit the notification bell when you subscribe so you don't miss any content. Usually we do have all 4 of us on the same show, and usually we all kind of riff on each other about what's going on. But not today. Not today. It's a Jeff and a Curtis pod. So the Chargers are coming to Indy on a Monday night. The Chargers are favored by 4.5. And Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles is making the start for the Colts for the first time in his career. 57th start in his career overall, but first time donning the blue and white. And as you were saying off screen or off camera, Jeff Saturday gave him the old, he's going to give us the best chance to win these games conversation, which happens a lot these days. But Jonathan Taylor's on injured reserve, so it's going to be a lot of Dane Jackson and Zach Moss, Deion Jackson, and but yeah, go ahead. It's all you, Jeff.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know how much it can hurt to put Foles in. I mean, it's just been the same thing over and over. You know, one half of good play and then a half of bad play. So I'd like to see what he can do. I don't know. It just looked like Matt Ryan's arm strength. It kind of diminishes as the game progresses, and he starts looking like Peyton Manning did in his last season, just kind of throwing up ducks. Didn't have a lot of power behind his throws. Like I feel like there's some times where I could, as soon as Matt Ryan throws it, I can run to the bathroom, get a snack, come back, and the ball's still in the air. So I'm not sure if how much more arm strength Nick Foles has. But even when Sam Ehlinger played in his 2 spots, it looked like he was slinging it, zipping it, compared to what Matt Ryan was putting up. So, if anything, I think it'll give, if he can open up downfield just a little bit more, I think it'll kind of open up what Pierce can do. Got to see what he's got. But, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when I talk about Jelani Woods. Mm-hmm. And, him having 1 catch, it was 36 yards, and then you never saw him again. Yeah. So
it looks as if was it Granson is questionable for the game. So if he doesn't go, that at least means that the people who would be available to get those tight end targets, the bodies are down. So at least that bodes well for him. He's got a 50-50 shot of being on the field.
It should be like 90%.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of things. Maybe it's like, maybe Irsay's just like, hey, let's tank, and coaching staff's like, nah.
I mean, I don't want to buy into the tanking thing, but when you do something for the first time in NFL history, and how long has the NFL been around?
Yeah.
So when you do something for the very first time in a game that all you really needed to do was just run clock, run the ball. I mean, you didn't even necessarily need to put up points when you're up 5 scores going into the second half. And to lose that game, it's just I don't know how to really defend it. Oh yeah, they're not, they're not tanking. Like that just it's never happened before. So I don't like to buy into that, but at the same time, it's just that collapse against Dallas, and then just back to back collapses.
Yeah.
And then coming off a bye week, it was just inexcusable. So I mean, with the Chargers again, I'll say, can they win it? Well, yeah, they can. Are they? Probably not. It's just like I said, it's going to be the same thing I said for the in the Minnesota game. They're either going to come out slow and try to catch back up, or get any kind of lead and then blow it late. So I'm waiting for them to make me eat crow, but it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And I want to see them win. I don't want to see them. No one wants to see their team lose. If they don't win another game, no one wants to see a 4-win team.
Dude, my team's got 1 win.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to have 4 wins.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even if it might screw up your draft position a little bit to win out, I mean, don't you want to see some kind of progress?
Absolutely. Look,
exactly.
Everybody, this is just like a little thing that pisses me off. I was looking at last season and this season for the Texans. So David Culley had 1 win until week 11. They won 3 games out of the final 6. So we won 1 game out of the first 11, or out of the first, God, it's week 16. So out of the first 15 games. And now we finished with the division, which is outside of the Jacksonville Jaguars, looked like a hot mess. I mean, I don't think we, run the table here, but I think there's definitely some competitive games in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like I listened to a podcast, a couple weeks ago, and they were saying that the Colts, they might go out of the season with a bang and beat up on Houston, and I'm like, even really good teams haven't been beating up on Houston. They've stayed competitive, they've stayed aggressive, they stayed especially their defense has really stepped up, and it's like I don't see this Colts team with the offense that they've shown so far beating up on anybody.
Yeah.
So it's just but again, I think they can win each game. It's just they make too many mistakes. They can't sustain drives. They can't they can't move the ball. And maybe Nick Foles will do something. Little Super Bowl magic. I mean, they're not technically eliminated from the playoffs, but they have been for a while.
Yeah.
But it's just, maybe he can show something. I really just hope he comes out and kind of emphasizes Pierce and Jelani Woods and just kind of gets these rookies, much needed reps and targets and receptions. So
yeah.
That's really more what I'm hoping for now.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're a little bit in the same boat. I mean, let's just say that the Colts lose out. What position does that put them in the draft? Top 5?
Right now they're in
6th?
I think so. I think it's 6th. If the season ended today.
Okay.
But yeah, if they lose out, I mean, obviously you need help from other teams, but man, they could easily be. I mean, it'd probably push them into the top 5. And you almost have to go quarterback with what's happened this year, and I don't think there's really another option for them.
So do you think they would go like Bryce Young or something if he was on the table? Or okay. I mean, at top 5, you got to assume 1, maybe 2 of the top 3 guys is gone.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the Cardinals are drafting a quarterback.
Probably not.
I don't know that the Raiders, or not the Raiders, the Bears are going to draft a quarterback.
Probably not.
Those are the other. They're in the top 2 or the top 3, I believe, with Houston. So, and they both have 3 wins. So Houston could win 2 games down this final stretch here. and still be locked in at first because they lost to the Bears.
I mean, it's got to be a foregone conclusion that y'all are taking a quarterback, right? I mean,
I don't think it first overall.
Huh?
I mean, we have technically 3 first-round draft picks, so I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they take Hendon Hooker at the top of the second round.
Really
use those other 2 picks for like Will Anderson, or like trade back from 1 to 3 for somebody that has like needs a quarterback really badly, or something. 1 to 7, I don't know. And then you just pick up other picks and you draft solid players, and you already have another pick already. So
that's, I sent a group text to you guys, kind of looking for a play off of it. And I'm not saying that I would be happy to see it. I'm not saying that they're definitely going to do it. It's just right now, they're staring down at the top 5 pick. And I mean, this is supposed to be a Chargers Colts thing, but we're in draft season.
Draft season.
I might as well just talk about it now. What I was saying wasn't like, okay, they're going to do it, or they have to do it, or I want to see them do it, because I love the players that I'm going to mention, but when on the field, Shaquille Leonard is one of, if not the best, linebackers. But if you look at the play of Zaire Franklin, and if you sign Okereke, I mean, he's going to, I think I said in another show, he's probably going to want 10 to 15 million. And that's a shitload of money to tie up in linebackers, and I don't think you can justify it. So it's either Okereke walks and you keep Leonard, or you find a trade partner for Leonard. And I think he was still playing at a high enough level before this season to warrant, some pretty good, draft capital, maybe even a first and a couple of mid or late round, and that would put him in the first a couple of times. And I think they got Wentz. I don't think he played enough snaps for them to get a third, so I think he got a fourth out of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think it was a fourth that could be a third. So they've got that, and then another one. I don't. He's too young, but I don't think a running back matters so much when your line is terrible.
Yeah.
So, I like it.
Hold on. Let me pause you right there, because there's still hope for that Carson Wentz thing. So Ron Rivera said that if Taylor Heineke doesn't right the ship against the 49ers this weekend, then Carson Wentz will be back at QB1.
Oh, that's not even fair, though.
Hey, all I'm saying,
playing so good.
Look, that means I'm pretty sure it was a third that could be a second. So if I remember correctly, it was like a second and a third, and then a third that could be a second.
Yeah, Carson, he's not winning.
I don't. That's basically highway robbery at this point. How the Colts managed to do whatever they did, and then basically sent immediately one of those 3rd-round draft picks for Matt Ryan. Decisions were made.
2nd round pick. 22. I think that was. Yeah, I'm not finding a lot of detail on it. It's one of those two.
Okay. But regardless, I think there's actually a chance that Wentz plays and that pick could be elevated, which would be good for you guys.
Yeah. But I think right now the weakest part of this line, I mean, Kelly hasn't really had the season that you'd hoped. I mean, I still think he's one of, at least in the top half of centers. But it's that right guard, right tackle that's just been, shifted in and out and been pretty inconsistent, especially. I mean, if you're playing Matt Pryor at any point in the season, you've done something terribly wrong. So
yeah,
and that's kind of where they're at. I mean, they filled in and had, it's just been rocky. So, like I was saying, if your line is terrible, I don't think it really matters who's running behind it. And I mean, you could just look at the Titans. I mean, Derrick Henry's had some really good games, but when they start stacking the box and he's got 5 people tackling him, there's nothing a running back can do, and that's pretty much what the team have been doing. With Jonathan Taylor on the field, there hasn't been a lot of running room for him when he's been healthy.
Yeah.
So, I don't want him to. I mean, he's only 23. I don't think they'd even consider pulling this trigger. But he's another guy, young rookie contract, who could, he could get you some substantial capital too. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are going to laugh at that. But if you look at it, that would then pretty much turn into 3 firsts. And with all the mid-round stuff they have, they could potentially get into the first 4 times if they found, the right partner for it.
Right.
And then that would, I don't know. I mean, I think getting into the first 4 times is kind of outlandish, but
yeah, it is a little bit. I don't think it's been done quite like that. And usually, if people have multiple firsts, like more than 2, like I'm pretty sure, like the Eagles had more than 2. Like there's usually trades that involve somebody else wanting one of those 3, and they get stuff in return. So, it is what it is. But let's try to curtail it a little bit back into the Chargers. Let's just gun to our head ways to win for the Indianapolis Colts.
I think they're going to have to come out, and I think they're going to have to come out with Nick Foles and kind of show looks that they haven't shown. And that's going to have to be, pushing the ball downfield, a lot of play action, which is something that Matt Ryan is too old and slow to do. I'm not saying that Nick Foles could do it any better, but they can't be worse.
Yeah, that's true.
But they really got to show some looks, and they've got to. You can't run the ball on first down every time. Like you've got to mix it up. I mean, the run game is still going to have to be a big part of it. You're going to have to maintain possession, and that's who the Colts have always tried to be as a running team. But you're going to have to open it up with some decent passes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely going to have to. Number one is stop turning the ball over, and that doesn't just go for the quarterback. I mean, Taylor's out, but he had fumbling issues. They've had a lot of fumbling issues. Like everybody, I think on this team is fumbled. I think last week it was Zach Moss that fumbled it.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So, ball security has been a big problem, and it's just control time of possession, actually move forward and take points. And that was my biggest issue with Jeff Saturday. I got into an argument about it on that 4th and 1, 4th and 2, where they decided to go for it. I mean, it's a 54-yard field goal. And McLaughlin has been, I think he's shooting 80% almost 80% from 50 yards. Like, I think you take it and go up 3. This is a team where you have to take points.
Yeah.
Touchdowns have been hard to come by. Take the points.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just got to sustain drives and put points on the board.
Yep. Zach Moss has got to be that workhorse fill in for Jonathan Taylor, and Foles has got to capitalize on that play action. I think the Chargers have a suspect defense. I mean, the Titans weren't necessarily able to expose it very well, but it's not like the Titans offense can expose many people.
They just don't have anybody at wide receiver to catch.
Yeah. Well, the Chargers' run defense isn't super great. Yeah. So I think that there's going to be a good opening for Zach Moss to do some stuff. I actually picked him up in my fantasy league, hoping, fingers crossed, that he and Gerald Everett can do some things in that game. But
I'm in a quarterback purgatory in fantasy football, and I'm now resorted to starting Nick Foles. So it's brutal, man.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping he can come out and just kind of surprise some people, including me.
Well, I think we're winding down here to the end here, brother. So I want to go ahead and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to thank everybody for watching. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And do you have any final comments?
No. Go Colts.
Hell yeah.
Pick up a win and finish out strong.
Hey, that's what we all hope for at this point, because it's draft season. Anyway. But this has been the 86th installment of this AFC South show. Thanks for watching, and be good people.